super stoked to be here and sharing a stage with you today, and especially about the topic culture of innovation. So let's dive in. As an innovation leader, when you're establishing that initial culture, that foundation, where do you begin? What's the most important part?
I think the really most important thing is the leadership recognizes that ideas can come from anywhere. It could be outside, inside, top of the organization, the janitor, it could be marketing, it could be finance, it could be engineering. But the best organizations I found really judge an idea, not by who it came from, not just because the CEO says it, but they judge it by the idea itself. And the merits of the idea.
So really a big tent philosophy where everybody's welcomed in. You want a real diversity of opinions, perspectives. And I think that's an interesting point to kind of dig a little bit more on. When we're talking about diversity and innovation, I get really excited about this because it's more than just race or gender or age. For me, I'm thinking also about things like diversity of perspective or diversity of experience, personality, even spirituality, and how that comes into play. And you've worked with some amazing teams during your time. So can you just share some of your experiences and where you saw that come into play really powerfully?
It's hugely important. Because at iRobot, we were making a product for people, the Roomba vacuuming robot. The team coming from all different backgrounds made it a better product. I'll give you an example. The second Roomba program manager was, her name was Salma. She was an Islamic refugee from Bosnia. She had, probably more importantly, she had twin toddlers at the time.
Oh,
And
wow.
she said, we're gonna make a product that I need around the house. And guess what? She knew what every busy mom needed because she was a really, really busy mom running Roomba and having twin toddlers at home. And I think studies back this up, right? They show that diversity increases innovation, and she really should be a tenet of every innovative organization.
Yeah,
And
I'm
sure you found the same on the military side.
Exactly. Yeah, I got to say, the most innovative teams that I've collaborated with across DoD, but especially within AFWERX, have included a lot of people with different backgrounds, coming from a broad perspective of life experiences. And that really opens the aperture in unique ways because it removes bias, first of all, but then it also makes you think in ways that you traditionally haven't. And that gets exciting because the creativity starts to really explode and you move from what might be incremental to really transformational innovation. That's been powerful for me to see in a lot of the teaming events that AFWERX has pulled together, and how we are so inclusive in bringing in a variety of people from private sector and government, and then also hackers and makers, even artists in some cases, and mixing it up, even academics, in unique ways so that we've got all of those perspectives in the mix, and what comes out the opposite end is amazing. We've been able to achieve a lot of really incredible things with that.
And I think a key tenet in that is also what we always call no squashing. Because as background, started iRobot, we built bug robots. So no squashing had special meaning for us. Now, I'm not saying it was a good business plan or anything, but they were scurrying around showing intelligence with modest computational assets, etc. And of course, if you build bugs, you don't like squashing. But it really came to mean don't squash ideas, because no matter how crazy they might seem, if you let them percolate up, if you kick them around, discuss the pros and cons, the crazy sounding ones might just lead to something that's not so crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And when you push the boundaries, and I think this goes back to that establishing a culture of innovation, when you set the right parameters for that, you've got the strategy, you've got the vision clearly communicated, everybody's on board, ready to go, then there are some essential elements that come into play. And tell me how this lands for you as an innovator. I know for me, the more successful teams that I've worked with have always had trust and communication at the core of those experiences. And that's enabled people to really come forward with ideas that maybe they might have been too afraid to share because they would have thought, oh gosh, people are going to think that's crazy. I'm not going to take that risk.
Right. I really think you have to have that trust, because when you have a diverse team, people with all different perspectives coming together, you know, they're not going to see the world alike. So that strong leadership to be able to empower people to come up with ideas and to listen to other people's ideas and put their own ideas in is essential to getting things actually done.
Exactly. And so can you share a couple tools or methods that you used at iRobot to really facilitate that type of open discussion and get people comfortable with just stepping into, you know, that experimentation mindset?
I think, back to what I said originally, making sure ideas can come from anywhere. For example, the idea for Roomba wasn't mine. It wasn't my two business partners. It came from one of our engineers who said, hey, we should be doing the simplest possible thing first. And as leaders, what we did was empower a small team. We gave them a small amount of money, and every time we couldn't see a reason why it wouldn't work. And we were always looking for that reason, because when you're going to defy conventional wisdom, it's probably going to be wrong. But you need to, push it forward and say, hey, maybe people are missing something. So by putting something on the market, a Roomba that was modestly priced so people could take out their wallets and buy it, it really did defy where the industry in general was going with higher priced robot systems, ones for factory automation, et cetera. And now 20 million out there, it's been, a huge success.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about something you said. You emphasized the fact that you put only a small amount of money against that project initially. Tell me about that, because I see other innovators that do this, and it feels like by placing that kind of restriction where you're not over budgeting, some really cool things start to happen.
I think it does. I don't think we would have got on the market originally $200 if we had thrown a lot of money at it, because we'd have a lot more features and et cetera, where the technology really had to build up as an industry. So we didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't have a choice. So we're not that brilliant, right? But, having the team motivated to get to that next success level and really feel like, I think it's Margaret Mead who said, the anthropologist said, a small group of people can change the world. In fact, It's the only thing that truly does. I truly believe that. Yes. So if a small group of people struggling in a garage to try and get your conventional wisdom defying innovation out there, I think you've got more success than internal to a large company that's already in the industry and you're trying to pull this glacier a different direction. I think that, having that small group empowered with buy-in is really, really powerful. And I love that's what you're doing with AFWERX.
Yeah, this is something that, I have been so impressed with the leadership, because they've set that space and held that space for us to really explore and innovate on things that maybe we might normally not do inside of the government.
Do you have any good examples?
Oh my gosh, where to begin, right? Well, if you look at our recent work in Agility Prime, I mean, a lot of people would have thought a few years ago a flying car, right? But now look at where we are. We're not afraid to step into the unknown and explore the options that exist out there for making what we thought was sci-fi actually science fact. And that makes me excited. And you'll see this across a lot of our challenges, Base of the Future included, where we're looking at what was and imagining what could be. So in the future, what might be a base today may turn into, a 3D printed base that is able to be EMP proof and has a lot of robotics on the base that maybe
Absolutely.
Right. And so you've reduced risk, you've got touchless contact where the robots are loading or offloading cargo or servicing jets. You're replacing some of the riskier like refueling with robotic assistance or automation. You have a lot of smart applications. Maybe those are built on the blockchain. Maybe those are inspired by artificial intelligence or both. And so that's what I love about the innovation space that's been created here for all of us to play in, because people bounce in and out with these amazing ideas, and the ones that stick, we start to build on that. And our leadership has been great in enabling us to do that.
Now, a lot of small companies might have some great ideas about automating the base or other aspects of base operation and culture. How do they get involved with AFWERX?
I'm so glad you asked. Okay, so there are so many ways to get involved with us. Coming into one of our spaces might be a little limited right now, but that gives us a physical collaboration space where people can team up. But if you go to any of our AFWERX sites, you can do a weekly webinar to learn about our different funding opportunities. You can also check out all of our challenges. Base of the Future was on there. We've got some really cool space challenges coming up. And our companies, the small companies, academic inspired companies, individual innovators can also play in unique events like Hack the Satellite, Hack the Sat, which is going on at DEF CON. That was awesome because now we went from 100 teams May 22nd down to the top 10 teams that are identifying and showing us where vulnerabilities are on Air Force satellites and how we fix that. And that's the kind of awesome event digitally, that collaboration that we're facilitating right now through events like Fusion or for Spark Collider, where we've got our airmen with problems being brought together with companies and academic teams with bright solutions to solve it quickly and then get it back out into the field to benefit the warfighter.
Great.
Just some of the various ways.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that I most recently worked in the Pentagon for the acquisition executive of the Army. And in the Army, likewise, we have the X-Tech Challenge, which takes a look at broad, more deep tech innovation and makes connections, a small amount of money, but also makes connections between the research, Army Research Laboratory and all the CCDCs and the PEOs that actually run acquisitions when there's a really good idea that they should be aware of. In addition, rapid equipping, I'm a huge fan of rapid equipping because at iRobot, we also built the first ground robots deployed in combat. And, you know, it wasn't where all the research money was going at the time. So it was truly innovative because everybody wanted to, you know, put money behind a, you know, the next generation tank because that's what they knew. And we were saying, hey, let's do the smallest thing first, get them out there. And we did that through rapid equipping. The rapid equipping force now in the Army, there's the RRCTO. And if you've got an innovation that's maybe 2 to 5 years out, you can potentially enter that way and get that user feedback and then transfer it over to a regularly scheduled acquisition program going through the PEOs.
See, I love that. And so we're seeing.
And I don't think we should, sorry, but I don't think we should discount the SBIR program, right? Because SBIR is very powerful for small companies. And one thing that companies need to know is it's great money for a small company in phase 1 and phase 2, but there's also a potential phase 3. And if you've won a phase 1 and phase 2, you've already won a competition. So if you find a sponsor with money, they can put that money onto a phase 3 SBIR. So they're a very valuable, one of the tools that small companies really should take a look if it's right for them.
Yeah, and we do weekly webinars around SBIRs and STTRs for any of the companies that are interested. We've got a fantastic team that has the information around that, and companies can come in every week and ask questions or ask for help around the process. And I get so excited about that because you see a lot of companies for the first time in some cases approaching the government because we're providing a friendly front door. And the efforts that you mentioned are all part of Department of Defense, expanding that reach and providing agile acquisition mechanisms that will really change the face of how we do business for the future. So it's a pretty exciting time right now.
Now, I participated as a government official and as
you are a highly qualified expert, right?
Qualified expert. That's a real title, by the way.
Yes, yes. Well, tell me a little bit about that.
Not one of those mediocre experts that
Highly qualified expert. So what was your role in advising the Army? And can you tell us a bit more about how you brought your private sector expertise to bear on that?
So my role was really advising on the robot programs, what direction they should go from a technology perspective. But I also had the opportunity to help a lot of small businesses while I was inside. And I just like to say that I love helping small companies negotiate this. And I make an offer to the attendees today. LinkedIn to me, tell me you met me here, and I'm happy to tell you what I know about the system and how to break through. And we have now, it's part of FLIR. It was sold by iRobot, but we got thousands of robots into the field, broke through that kind of the regularly scheduled acquisition process, got the stuff out there, and there are mechanisms to do that, but you have to know the system and where these mechanisms flow to.
And see, I love that illustration, because now let's bounce real quick into you as an innovation leader inside of the government. As you're taking that role and you're establishing a culture of innovation, you're bringing public and private sector together in unique ways. What were some of the key lessons learned that you brought away from that experience? And it sounds like you're going to share some of those with small businesses that are connecting with you too, but I'd love to hear some more.
I think the key lesson learned is there are reasons for everything that happens, right? And you think it's so slow and glacial, but there's a lot going on in the background that you may not be aware of, and sometimes they can't even tell you. But there's a lot of truly dedicated people really trying to make things happen. And sometimes, there is a system in place that you have to kind of break through. And the right people are there, and it's about empowering them, right? It's about giving them the ability to really push for the innovation that what I believe the small companies, the academic institutions can provide for the militaries.
Love it. Helen, I'm getting the signal that we're about wrapping up, but I'd love to ask for any closing remarks. As somebody that has led innovation, is passionate about innovation, what do you want to leave our audience with today?
I would say defy conventional wisdom. You might be wrong, but at least you will have tried, and just do it. Just the Nike's tag phrase is just do it. That's what I believe. You got to jump in, and you got to learn from experience. You got to learn from your customers, and to get something new out there, you can't be shy about it. You have to be bold and push it through.
Helen, I love it. It's so good to see you and reconnect with you soon. If I don't know what your schedule looks like, we might be looking for a highly qualified expert for the Air Force in the future. I'm just saying, we'd love to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's so good to see you.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, everybody out there in AFWERX land, have a great day, and thanks for all your support. We love you guys.